So, in this video, we're going to be talking about the importance of creating your study packages. So, we'll go through what study packages are and how to essentially create them. Essentially, what study packages are, um, look at it as you taking your own notes of the things you have learned, right? That's the best way to take a look at study packages. And then what you do is you create a specific document, right, for each week or each chapter you study. It could be sections as well, actually. So what you do is, like, essentially you take, basically 5 or 6 pieces of white paper, right? And you start, on the top you write week one, right? And then you start, like, listing all the topics, right? Like, I would say start with lecture material first, or if you're taking any in video courses, right, use your instructor's notes and material first, and prioritize this material right away, right? Like, make sure that these are the material that's going to be, like, written in your study packages right from the beginning. Because if they are putting these material on their slides, right, or on their videos, these are the things that you should be studying the most, right? So these are the things that you should be rewriting, handwriting them, right? To In order to learn the concepts, and for you to create your own set of knowledge, your own set of information that you learn from these courses, right? You can review this is essentially, you create these to actually review them later, right? Because we were going to be covering the importance of review these, and how many times and things like that. But the key things is essentially take a white, maybe, like, I like, depending on how much material obviously you have to cover, right? So for example, the first week, most university programs don't have much things to cover, right? So you might not even need one. But see, if you need one, maybe, identify, like, key things you need to know for your exams and things like that on the first week, right? Identify that, right? And then update it. And then second week you can start actually getting to the actual material. Week one, top talk about the first topic, right, on the instructor, and then write the notes on what you see, and also write the notes that you hear from your professor. Pay attention to when they things like, this is really important, this you should know, right? Like, they will identify things like that. Pay attention if they're saying things like that. And if they are saying things, write those things down, and make sure that it says important or imp or something like that, or put a star next to it, so that it catches your eye, right? And make sure that, as you study, as you go through new material and things like that, you keep filling out new information to this. You can keep adding more pages if you need, and make sure that, the basically the week or the section, like I said, the week, chapter, or the section, whichever the way you want to section it out. And then start the topic, and then key details, topic, key details, right? You keep doing that, and make sure that, you feel free to draw diagrams. I usually do that a lot, right? When I was studying, like, in order for me to understand things, because it's in white paper, right, I would, like, draw diagrams very quickly and very easily, right? So that's something I would recommend you do, is make sure that you draw good diagrams. And also, once you're done, staple them together, right? You What I usually do is that, you can actually use a paper clip much better than stapling together, actually. Because then you can quickly move the pages if you need, and add new ones if you need, right? So either one, if you have a staple, just staple it together, and then unstaple it when you need to add new pages, or just staple, like, I sometimes have like three staples together, right? So, like, on top of it, so that way I kept adding more pages into it, so that as I learn new stuff and things like that, right? So the key thing is, essentially, this is like, this packages study packages, is own created document. It will help you review things quickly. It will help you become more familiarize yourself much quicker than anything else. And this is one of the most valuable techniques that I use, that have really helped me study. And one of the things, the way I usually did it was, I would read it and pay attention. I would, like, watch a video or something of my lectures, and then I would try to remember what he's talked about and write it down. Not all of it, right? Basically, like, if especially if they pointed out something, I would, okay, what did he say? Okay, I remember what they tried to say, and then write it down. Same thing when I'm, like, reading, like, textbooks and things like that. And if I have something I really think is important, I would try to think, okay, what did they say, and then try to write it down on my own words. If it's not on word doesn't work right away, I just write down word to word to help me realize and help me understand the material. But what I usually do is just basically, like, listen to what they say, or like look at my lecture notes, and then I would write it down, like, I write it down from my memory what I have learned. And if I don't know what they're talking about, um yeah, I would go back and review it again, and then, okay, I understand certain aspect, then I would write it again down based on, that. So this is what I continually did with study packages. I would try to almost like check my own understanding, and once I get an understanding, or once I kind of know what they're talking about, then I would write it. But one of the main things I like, most of these packages, I would, write anything that I have not come across before. That's one of the main things I did, is I would write things that I've not come across before, and I would write things that are very new to me, right? That's I mean, I guess that's the same thing. Sorry, what I meant to say is things that are new to me or never come across before, and things that I hard time understanding right away, right? So I would mark things that I don't understand right away. I still write it down, but I would come back to it over and over again, or go to, like, YouTube or something like that quickly, to understand the concept, or Google and blog post or blog article on the subject, and write the notes down quickly for me to understand it much better, right? So two things what I mainly do is, again, like I say, if it's something really new to me, that I would make sure I would write it down. I would also write down things that are, essentially, that I've never come across before, or things that are also difficult, right? It's difficult to get. And make sure that when you start it, you always start with your lecture material first, because, like I said, your lecture material, your professor's favorite material, and they are very likely to show up on your exams. And the more the details you know about the lecture material, the better it will. So start with those. Um, start with those, if as soon as soon as possible, right? And then then you can move on to doing your readings and things like that, and adding more pages if you need into it, based on things what you find useful. Okay. All right, I'll see you in the next video.